Hey, just checking in with you guys to see if you are noticing the way the energy has shifted. It's interesting because everything happens very subtly sometimes, right? I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that when it's the bad stuff. It feels like it literally comes in and knocks us out. But when the good stuff kind of happens, it happens in a subtle way. And Spirit's just saying that it happens kind of like in layers. And depending on the density of our frequency, that's how we will experience. So if we have a lot of density, then we can easily miss a lot of the subtle good stuff that comes in, right? Just because it can get through the layers, but it's still there. So what Spirit is calling this right now is they're calling it reflective energy. So let me know in the comments, are you noticing the shift? So yesterday was relatively quiet energetically. Today, again, relatively quiet energetically. The Schumann, so Mother Gaia's heartbeat, right? The center measurement of the Earth's core is only at a power of 6, and it's been like that for 2 days. The baseline for it is 7.8. So that's meaning like normally where it's like starting point is. So it's below that. So it only makes sense that we're kind of feeling a little bit lethargic today. We're feeling kind of a little bit, yesterday was very, very different. It was we had a lot of excess energy to burn off. So even though there wasn't a lot of energy coming in, we had an accumulation from the days prior to that. Today's going to be different though, unless we start to see some activity. It's going to be a very kind of lull, quiet. And it's interesting because I was thinking about this, you know how when you just wake up and the dream states continue to be so interesting, like so interesting. I went in and out of the same dream several times last night, which is always cool when you're having a cool dream, right? When you like wake up and then go back and you're like, I wish I could go back to that dream. And you do. That's really, really cool. But I woke up this morning just feeling like off, right? When you wake up and you have like that off feeling. And I had this remembering about my mom and how she would, sometimes, being an empath, of course, I'm always saying to my mom, I was always saying to my mom, she's not here with us anymore, but I would say, are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you all right? And she would say, yeah, I just feel off. I don't know what it is. I just feel off. And that's kind of like how I was feeling today. I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? I just kind of feel off. Like, it's just like that. I feel off. And there's nothing that I can be like, oh yeah, because it's this or that or blah, blah, blah. I just feel off. And so Spirit came in and they said to me, just don't get stuck on it. So that makes sense, right? So like, okay, so you're feeling off. That's okay. It's okay to feel off. And Spirit's just saying that helps us to be more reflective about things. And so they're just saying to us, we need to be reflective about stuff and not just kind of like eye on the prize, moving forward, always going forward, always jumping to the next thing. There needs to be some reflection on the stuff we're experiencing. And they're saying not just the bad stuff. We need to be reflecting on the good stuff as well. We need to have that acknowledgement. They're saying the accolades of, yeah, look at how hard I'm working, and look at how much I'm healing, and how much I'm growing, and how my perspective is broadening, and how, right, all of the things that we're doing, right, that our purpose of coming here to do, besides just exploring everything. But feel into that about how, like, what that reflection means for you, like how far you've come, how much changing you've done, or, if it happens to be, that you haven't been changing enough, or there hasn't been enough soul growth or deep conversations with yourself, or, enough reflection. Maybe let me know, because that word is coming up lots and they're showing me for the collective. So see how that feels for you about reflection, how that whole, what it kind of means for you. And I know that, a lot of us empaths are feeling the collective energy right now, and the collective energy is very chaotic, right? It's very unsettled. And of course, we're going, the election in the United States is coming up. I wish one was happening in Canada because we need new government here. But that is, that whole thing is up in arms and very much, unsettled and unscrambled. Even when I go into spirit and I ask them, who's going to win, who's going to be the winner of that, it's still unsettled. Like, it's still energetically. So here's the thing about it. And, this is, being somebody who has psychic abilities, you know this and understand this. Nothing is ever written in stone. Nothing ever is a for sure. And this goes for everything, because there's so many frequencies involved that can switch something or change something at like the last minute. And, this may not always be what we call fair, on the human scale of being like, well, you can't do that. That's not fair. Well, it happens all the time on this planet. That's how, the dark agenda works. It's not a fair agenda, right? They don't play by the rules. And so have the awareness that that stuff does go on. It does go on, but don't let it drive you crazy. And don't let, the outcome, the whole outcome of everything kind of like put you into a tailspin, because ultimately how we are operating, how we are experiencing, how we are thinking, how we are feeling is going to dictate so much more, right? So that collective experience is a very real thing. And we have to have accountability for that. We have to have accountability for where our minds are, where our hearts are, right? Because that energy affects everything. And even though, they make it look like there's one elected person that goes in that is going to change the world. It doesn't work like that. It's, it does not work like that. We are all part of that. Spirit's just showing me, it's funny, they're showing me there's like literally the bus driver, and then there's everybody on the bus. So without everybody on the bus driver doesn't have a purpose. So remember, the collective experience is happening. And really feel into that too, because it's interesting, working with clients and teaching the classes, and even working with people who are really have been a long time working on their path, working on their soul growth, working on that stuff. When you bring up the discussion about politics or the election, they instantly go into a dark place, like a dark, angry, oh, I hope that person doesn't get elected. If that person gets elected, I'm going to... That is not good. That is not good to feel that way about anything or anybody. It's not good, because that frequency that you're emitting it to yourself as well. You're taking it on to yourself. So have the awareness about that, right? How much your frequency affects you, right? How that... And our whole goal, like if you could just simplify this and say, okay, God, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose right now? It's to be heart-centered. If we can be heart-centered in every action and every deed and every thought, it would change things. It would change things, because when we are heart-centered, we're able to have compassion for everything, for every circumstance, for every situation. And when we do that, it immediately diffuses any kind of fire, any kind of negativity, any kind of drama or trauma or chaos. It's like the magic weapon, right? And we need to tune into that more. So pay attention. Maybe your reflection today is, how is that making me feel? How is the government making me feel? How is right? Pay attention to that, because I know that sometimes when we don't feel empowered, when our power is not in, we feel like it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter what I do. But what you're feeling, what you're thinking is creating your experience. Remind yourself about that, because it's so powerful. And you need your power back. We all need to call our power back. Sending you huge blessings.